Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the Sitivien ST-105. This is the third or fourth Sitivien knife that I have reviewed, and I like each one of them a little more than the last. This one I've actually had for a while. I love this blade shape. Now this is D2, G10, is a steel liner lock. It's got a nice stamped steel pocket clip. It has a steel backspacer, which is very cool. This is not a light knife, but it is very attractive. And again, I just want to take a minute and look at this blade shape. It's freaking cool. The G10 is milled a little strangely, but it does give you really nice grip, and it is a reasonably thick handle. That is one thing about the Sitivien knives. They are sort of thick boys. So you get a really good grip, even though it is thin this way. The ST-105 here is, I don't know, just kind of cool, frankly. I like it quite a bit. Let's get some specs out of the way. You get a little over 3.5 inches of cutting on 3 3/4 inches of D2 steel. The grip area from behind that flipper tab. Well, where do you want to stop? If you come all the way to the back here, you're looking at 4.5 inches. So there is plenty of knife sticking out the back. The overall knife is 8 3/4 inches long. I mean, this is a big, big knife. Interestingly enough, with only 3 3/4 inches of handle, you're going to come, what, 4 inches closed? 5 inches closed. Yeah, this is a lot of handle, but I don't mind. It is kind of a funky design. You can get your thumb here if you want. Now, there's no jimping, and there could have been. This would have been a great knife for jimping. But anyway, you can, if you want to hold it up close, you can put your thumb in right there, or you can come forward and you have this beautiful just sort of swoop area right here to drop your thumb on if you want to hold it this way. It has a nice sharpening choil just behind the plunge, and there is no smile, no thickening of the grind at the plunge, which is really nice. The grind lines are even all the way up the length of the blade. It's kind of a clip point. It's got nice flats right here, but not too much, and then just a great shape at this end. It's a very stabby knife, if you're into that sort of thing. And the action is very, very good. It's drop shutty without being a guillotine. Let's see if we can get it past the detent on the flick. Oh yeah, so if we do our detent scale of 1 to 10, 1 being it falls out of the knife when I do this, and 10 being I can't open it at all, this is probably a 4. It's a little soft, but you can't fail it on the flipper, but you can shake it out pretty easy. So, you know, this is $26. Earlier in the week, I did a Sen cut, which is 9CR 18 MOV, but virtually the same materials in every other regard. It's $44. So $26, $44. You choose where you want to spend your money. I like the Sen cut, don't get me wrong, but I love how much the Sitiviens cost and how well they're done. Now, it is heavier than the Sen cut, and it is thicker than the Sen cut, but I don't care. I like this thing. The closed profile is okay. I mean, it's a reasonably lean and long knife, but because of the swells we're looking at with the flipper tab, we're coming up on 1.5 inches. Now, the way they've done this, even though the flipper tab is sort of prominent, it's tucked back into this cutout in the scale, so when it's hanging in the pocket, there really isn't a lot for it to bang onto. But because this is so long, if you've got women carry knives size pockets, it's probably not going to fit. So it is a full-size knife. Let's do some size comparisons. Well, we already had it out. So here it is against the Sen cut episode. As you can see, it is longer than the episode, although you do have a much shorter blade. Here it is against the Spyderco PM2. It is longer than the PM2 by quite a bit, but again, narrower. Here it is against the Terrain 365 STS-AT. And the ST-105 is considerably bigger. This knife is $395. This knife is $26. You can buy a lot of these for one of these. That'd be your call. I'm just saying. I really like how much this thing costs, can you tell? And finally, here it is against the SOG Terminus XR LTE. This is a $140 knife. Now, mind you, this is D2. This is not going to be rust and stain resistant anywhere like the S35, or particularly anywhere like the Teravantium here in the Terrain 365. But at $26, if you screw this thing up, order another one from Amazon and they'll have it to you in 2 days. That is one of the things I love most about budget-friendly knives. If you screw it up, and we all do from time to time, you can get another one. And it won't break the bank, and it won't make you sad. Now, I mentioned that it's got pretty good action, and it's pockets really well. If I had any complaints at all about this, it would just be how thick it is through the handle. Now, I don't always do this measurement, but I'm going to do it here. This thing is fat. It is at its thickest point on the handle here. It is 15.8 millimeters, which is over a ½ inch. Now, when you consider that at its thickest point, the handle is just 0.8. It's basically a rectangle. They could have done that a little better. It does make for a good grip if you've got big hands, but for everybody else, I feel like this knife is going to be sort of oddly shaped. But that's just my one sort of small complaint. Sitivien continues to produce knives that will not break the bank and will cut whatever you want them to and do a great job at it. Let's see how much of that D2 they gave you, since we have the calipers out anyway. .37 millimeters. Not bad, which is 132 thousandths of an inch. It's a nice piece of D2. And it's well done. It's got a really nice stonewash on it. There's the camera. I know what I'm doing. The billboarding is minimal. It says D2 on this side, and the ST or Sitivien. Well, so here's something funny. It says ST, which is great. But then it says Sitivien. They could pick one. But hey, who am I to complain? I really do like the metal backspacer. These are great knives. If you've got 30 bucks laying around and you want an interesting knife, something cool looking, go on Amazon and look up Sitivien knives. They have a catalog of unique and cool looking stuff that I'm here to tell you, at least the 4 that I've had so far, all of them work exceptionally well. And that's very cool. And that's where we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Sitivien, the ST-105. I very much appreciate your time. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.